All right, this is Shawn with Dallas South, and I want to bring something to you today I think will be very interesting. I am with Verdie Triplett. He is the founder of the Choctaw Chicasaw Freedman Association of Oklahoma. And today we're going to be talking about the plight of freedmen, black freedmen who were part of the Indian movement into the Oklahoma territory years ago. So I can't tell the story as good as Verdie can, so I'll let him tell it. But first off, thank you for talking to us today.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, so first thing I want to do is talk about your heritage and how you personally are related to the Indian tribes here in Oklahoma.
Okay, my great-great-grandmother, her name was Hetty Lucas. Hetty Lucas was a slave to a Chickasaw Indian named Levi Reynolds. Hetty Lucas' father's name was Bill Reynolds, that came via the Trail of Tears with the Chickasaw tribe. And she was a slave the majority of her life, and when slavery ended in 1866, the Chickasaw Nation never did abide by the treaty, so therefore they were non-citizens of their respective nation. They were not citizens of the United States of America. So as a result, she, along with all the other Chickasaw freedmen of the Chickasaw tribe, were people without a country for over 40 years until Oklahoma became a state and they were U.S. citizens.
Okay, so even as we go back to the Trail of Tears, a lot of us, and I didn't really give a lot of thought about it, didn't realize that the Indians who came here into Oklahoma, the 5 tribes, had slaves. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about the Trail of Tears and just how tightly slavery was woven into the fabric of that society.
Yes, there were 5 tribes in southeastern United States of America. You had the Cherokee tribe that lived in Georgia, the Carolinas, and parts of Tennessee. You had the Choctaw Chickasaw tribes that resided in Mississippi and parts of Alabama. The Creek and Seminole tribes were in the state of Florida. They basically embraced the southern culture and lifestyles of the white man or the Europeans that had infiltrated the eastern part of the United States due to its growth. And they engaged in slavery. They picked up the slavery habits that their southern white neighbors engaged in.
Okay, and so when they came to Oklahoma, they had hundreds of slaves. Some of them had hundreds of slaves, and they lived. What was their lifestyle like? Did they live an Indian lifestyle per se? Was it more of a European lifestyle when they got here to Oklahoma?
Well, you have to understand that by them embracing the lifestyle of their white neighbors, they basically were not like the Indians that you see, the Iroquois or the Navajos or the Sioux. They were plantation owners, and they owned slaves, and they had big plantations. And the whites had infiltrated the tribe, so therefore you had people, chiefs like Greenwood LaFleur with the Choctaw Nation that was 1/4 Choctaw and 3/4 French. Okay. So they had, the Europeans had pretty much infiltrated the tribes and brought along with them and introduced to the Indians slavery. So they practiced slavery throughout the southeastern United States. But it was so much of an influx of Europeans coming, they wanted that land. Right. They wanted their land. So some of the Indians in the respective tribes signed treaties to relocate to what is now Oklahoma. They gave them, the U.S. gave them this land in exchange for their land in the southeastern United States. The Choctaw Nation signed the Treaty of Dancing Rabbit Creek, and that's when they agreed to come to this land, which is now Oklahoma. So all 5 tribes signed their respective treaties to come here, and they did. But it is a known fact that the Indians, some of the Indians, sold a lot of their personal possessions to purchase slaves so that they can bring them with them, so the work will be there for them once they got to their new territories, so they can do the work, because they were avid farmers, they were carpenters, they did it all. And so as a result of that, when the 5 tribes came to Indian territories, they brought slaves with them. I think each tribe probably had anywhere from 3,000 to 4,000 slaves, each tribe. So you're looking at about 20,000 slaves plus that came via the Trail of Tears with the 5 tribes. Some of them came by land, a lot of them came by boat. I know the Choctaw Chickasaws, they came by boat by going down the Tallahatchie River, down to New Orleans, and up the Mississippi River to the Arkansas River, and the stopping point was here in Fort Smith. So that's how black Indians got to Indian territories, is because of the slave trade. The Indians engaged in slavery from the time of removal, which was between 1830 and 1838, up until the Treaty of 1866 was signed.